Let's stay with the story and get an update on the litigation processes. Now we're joined by Richard Spoor. He's the lawyer representing about 30 Jagersfontein families. Thank you so much, Richard, for your time this evening. Let's start, with an update on where you are in terms of the legal action. Listening to the Deputy President there talking about how the company is also starting to, assist building a show house and an indication that there could be more houses being built.
Well, we're deeply concerned that there is a failure on the part of government and on the part of the mining companies to do a proper risk assessment, and we don't believe that there's a proper understanding of the risks and the hazards to which the community is currently exposed. The information we have at our disposal suggests that the tailings that spilled in September last year are extremely toxic, dangerous to people, dangerous to animals, dangerous to the environment, and that it is not appropriate to re-establish this community where they currently are and where they were displaced. We don't think there's been a proper investigation, and we don't believe there's any proper understanding about the risks and the hazards to which the community is exposed and to which the wider community is exposed because of the contamination of water in the southern Free State. We are deeply concerned about these things.
How then do you begin to deal with that? Because that is quite concerning, because it may have some long-term effects that may not necessarily be seen today, but could cause potential damage in the future.
Well, we think it's worse than that. We think the effects are felt immediately. We have significant reports about stock deaths. We have reports from our clients about illness, about people coughing blood. Sure. And the scientific information that we have available to us suggests that this could be associated with the inhalation of the toxic tailings, which contain a mixture of heavy metals, very caustic substances that are extremely reactive and bad for humans. It's bad for the environment, it's bad for people, and we don't think that government or the company appreciate just how dangerous and harmful the situation currently is.
Have you sounded the alarm to maybe either one of the parties?
We have certainly invited them for a long time to do a proper risk assessment, to do a proper toxicology, to do a proper assessment of the hazards to which the community and the wider environment is now exposed. They have failed to do that. We are not aware of any studies that have been undertaken by the mine or by government, which includes its Departments of Environmental Affairs or Water and Sanitation, into the hazard. And to the extent that they may have done such studies, they have certainly not been disclosed to the community or to ourselves or to anybody else. And it's troubling that, if they've done these studies, which they should have done, that they have not been disclosed to us.
There was talk last year, and I wonder then, latching on to that one, there was talk last year by the Water and Sanitation Department, at the time of this tragedy, saying that they're going to be taking action against the mine for contravening the Water Act. I suppose, did that happen at all from your knowledge?
No, on the contrary, the department has authorized the disposal of tailings into the pit, something that they refused to do for more than a decade on the basis that it would contaminate groundwater in the whole of the southern Free State. And the Department of Water and Sanitation has now authorized the disposal of toxic waste tailings into the pit and into the groundwater. So, other than holding them accountable, it seems to us as if government is endorsing further harm to the environment. The information we have from our toxicologists is that the harm to the water resource in the southern Free State is likely to last for decades, that it's incapable of being filtered and addressed and resolved in the short term, and that it's unsafe for people, for animals, for irrigation, or for any other purpose. And we don't see anything on the part of government to address that, stop that, and take action to prevent further harm. It's just not happening.
Now, in light of all of this, Richard, that you and I have just spoken about this evening, what then is a mandate that you now have from those families that you're representing? Are you going to go to court with this to try and force the hand of those involved to be able to do right by them? Or what are they saying to you?
Well, recourse to the law and litigation is your last option. I mean, what we've been trying to do is engage with the company, engage with government, say, let's be open, let's be transparent, let's do the investigations that need to be done, and let's share that information and find an acceptable way forward. I very much regret that neither government nor the mine have been forthcoming, and we're obliged to resort to litigation. So we are preparing class action proceedings to recover damages and to ensure that people are appropriately treated and recompensed for the loss and harm that they've suffered. But we're also looking at ways in which we compel the mining company and government to take the measures that need to be taken in order to prevent a far wider and longer lasting catastrophe in the Southern Free State. We're looking at the prospect of criminal prosecutions. We're looking at the prospect of obtaining directives or compelling directives by government to require the mine to take the appropriate steps to start cleaning up this mess. We're looking at a range of options. But this is very much a second best approach. Our first and best option is open engagement, open discussion, and an objective scientific approach to what looks to be one of the biggest environmental catastrophes that this country has seen in many, many years.
So that particular, action that you are mulling, as you said, would be the last resort. Would it be against the mine or also including other parties here?
Absolutely. Litigation is slow, it's expensive, it's difficult. It's not the way to go. What we need is government to perform its responsibility and to exercise the power it has to ensure that appropriate measures are taken to limit the harm to the wider community in the Southern Free State. And we're not happy that government is doing that. We see a lack of willingness on the part of government to get serious about this problem, to understand the problem fully, and to ensure that the requisite steps are taken. We're not happy with government's response to date.
All right, Richard, let's see then what happens with this one, and we'll also, reach out to mine management as well as government just to get some of the answers as you talk about this very worrying risk assessment that you say wasn't done properly. And, one wonders what happened there. But let me thank you for your time. That is Richard Spoor. He's the lawyer representing the Jagersfontein families, some of those, who were impacted and affected in this particular disaster. You'd remember how bad the situation was, people losing their livelihoods, losing their homes, and of course a loss of life there as well. So we'll continue to monitor these developments.